Hey everyone, thanks for joining us for this month's Tips and Tricks webinar. As you're most likely already aware, I'll be walking you through the e-sign options that Floify has to offer today. Let's give everybody just about another minute or so to join and we'll go ahead and get started. All right. Again, thank you all for joining. Today is Wednesday, January 27th. I can't believe the first month of 2021 is almost over. Well, my name is Drew. I'm a member of the support team here at Floify, and I'll be taking you through the Floify e-sign options today. If you do have any questions as I'm going through this, that goes for comments or any feedback about e-sign or any other functionality in the Floify platform, feel free to use that live chat feature that's on your screen to reach out to us directly. I do have some team members that are standing by to address any of those questions or comments that you may have along the way. Also, if you have a personal wish list or any recommendations for features you would like us to cover in upcoming tips and tricks webinars, feel free to send your ideas to us through the live chat as well. So, what is an electronic signature or e-sign? An electronic signature is a way for borrowers and loan officers to sign an agreement through various electronic devices. So, whether this be a computer, it can be used for iPads, iPhones, Androids. It's a way for borrowers to sign a document without actually having to download and wet sign that document. So let's get into this by first showing you how you can enable the Floify eSign feature. Now, as I'm going through the webinar today, I'm going to show you the two options for eSign that we have. We have Floify eSign and we have DocuSign for any DocuSign users out there. So let's start with the Floify eSign. I'll show you how to go ahead and turn this part on. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to click on the team name in the top right corner here, and we're going to go into the company dashboard. You do have to be an admin in order to change this or need an admin's help. Now, once you're in the company dashboard, go ahead and click into your company settings, and it'll open up the basics tab for you. Now, go ahead and start scrolling down, and you're going to go pretty close to the bottom of the page, and you're going to look for Floify eSign settings, as you see here. Now, by default, yours is going to be turned off unless you've already enabled it, but it'll say disabled there. If you do need to enable it, you could check the box, go ahead and save that, and that will turn it on for your company. All right, so any team under the company dashboard is now going to have the ability to turn that on their particular team. All right, so I'm using Eric's account here, so I'm just going to go back into the pipeline or team settings. And from here, I'm going to go ahead and click settings on the top. And what that's going to do when it opens up for me is I'm now going to have an option here for eSign. So go ahead and click on that and you can see the different options here. Now, Floify eSign is enabled. Again, by default, yours will probably be disabled, but you can easily click edit and then turn that on so it's now enabled for you. Okay, so how to connect your existing DocuSign account. So for any DocuSign users out there that prefer to use DocuSign, you're comfortable with it, it's just something you've been using for a while, you can go ahead and connect to it. So let me show you how to do that. Now, instead of the company dashboard, you can do this directly from the team settings. So go ahead and click settings. And once that opens up, we're going to go ahead and go to integrations. Now from here, if you scroll down just a bit, you'll see DocuSign integration. All right, now to connect, go ahead and click edit. And now you'll be able to go ahead and click connect. And you can connect to DocuSign. It is possible to connect a company. So if you have a lot of teams, you can use a company, or you can just log into another DocuSign account. You can plug in your email address here and your password. I have to get mine. Give me 1 second here. All right, plug that in and then we can save it. And it lets me know that it's now connected to my DocuSign account. All right, so we're good. Okay, so the one-off e-sign requests, these are good because you can use any PDF or Word doc that you have saved on your computer. You can easily upload it, and then you can put the tags or signatures into place where they need to go on that exact document. The other nice thing about using one-off e-sign requests is you can add as many signers as necessary. As you'll see later on when I talk about templates, there's a maximum of either 2 or 3 signers, depending on which platform you're using. But with the eSign, you can add a borrower, co-borrower, third-party signer, maybe the loan officer needs to sign, etc. So let me go ahead and show you how to send a one-off Floify eSign doc. All right, now I just set up Peter and Petunia, so I have their loan flow here. Now I'm going to go into their loan flow, so I'll click on the red, yellow, or green. Either one of those is fine. And that's going to take me into their loan flow. Now from here, I'm going to go ahead and click Add New Doc. And now we can see the 2 options we have. So there's Floify eSign, but there's also DocuSign on the same screen. So you can use either one that you choose. I'm going to start with Floify eSign here. And now I can go ahead and set this up. So I can put a document name. I'm just going to use borrower's authorization. You can put an optional description, and then I'm going to go ahead and select my document here. So let me browse and find my document. There's my borrower's auth. All right, now if I did have any templates here, I can go down and I can use the templates, which would pull the tags over. I don't though, so I'm gonna say do not use an existing template here. And then my signers are gonna be right down below. So here's my borrower, Peter, my co-borrower, and my loan officer. It's there by default, but since I don't actually need a signature for myself in this case, I can go ahead and click the trash can there. And then I can always add additional signers here if I needed to. Or I can reset the signers if I needed to put the LO back. Now, once I click Add New Doc, it can take up to 30 seconds to load here. So let's just give it a few seconds. And when it does finish loading, this is what you're going to see here. Now, I have my borrower cert auth, so here's the document. All right, and then over to the left, let me just click out of that. Here's my signature, my date. I can put a name, text box, all the different options over here to the left that I need. Now in this case, I just need a borrower's signature. You can see I have my borrower selected here. So let me put a signature. That looks good. I'll go ahead and click, make that required, and then I'll click done. And then I want a date. So let me go ahead and just drag the date field over and plug that in as well. All right, that's required. And I'm done there with the borrower. Now for the co-borrower, I'll go up to the top and I'll pick the drop down here and select my co-borrower now. You can see there's a different color. And I'll do the same thing. So here's my signature for the co-borrower. Looks good, my co-borrower. And now the date. I'm going to put the date into place. All right, make sure that all looks good. Perfect. If I wanted to switch it back, I always could, but I'm going to leave it as the co-borrower here. Let me go ahead and switch it back. All right, so this document's pretty easy, pretty straightforward. And I'm going to click Send Document. All right. Now you're going to see it shows up in the Docs out here under the Miscellaneous tab. So here's my borrower's authorization. If I hover, I can always see who still needs to sign. All right, so Peter and Petunia still need to sign this document. Once they go in on their side, they'll be able to go ahead and give an e-signature for me. All right, so I showed you the Floify e-sign. Now let me show you how to send a DocuSign one-off e-sign request. Now here, similar, we're going to go ahead and click into the loan. This time I'm going to click the yellow, and we're going back to Add New Doc. And this time we're going to go ahead and select DocuSign. All right, same thing here. It's the exact UI. So you can go ahead and put your document name. Again, I'm going to use my borrower's authorization. I'm going to change the name slightly and just use borrower authorization. Again, I'm going to browse and attach my document. And the reason I'm using borrower is you can only use the name of a document once. Okay, so again, I'm going to say do not use an existing DocuSign template. I can always use a template if I choose to, but since we're doing a one-off, I'm going to go ahead and click do not use an existing DocuSign template. And then again, you can verify your signers. All right, I have my borrower, my co-borrower, and then the loan officer. Let's uncheck the loan officer. And add DocuSign doc to flow. Again, it takes just a few seconds to load here, so give it a few. And this time, instead of the UI, the user interface that you saw last time, you're going to see DocuSign pull up here. So if you're familiar with DocuSign, this is what you see if you log in there. And again, it's going to show you your document and then all your tags to the left. So let me put a signature here. Looks good. Let me put a date. All right, perfect. So there's Peter. Let me go ahead and put Petunia in place. Now, again, you have different colors here. So for Petunia, I'm going to put a signature here and date in the same place. All right, once that all looks good, go ahead and click Send. And you're done with the DocuSign one-off request. Again, it's going to add it to your Docs ode in the Miscellaneous tab by default. And you can see the differences here. So I have my DocuSign up on the top, and then I have my Floify eSign right below. And again, if you hover over this, it tells you who still needs to sign. And then here's my Floify eSign. Same thing. If you hover over the icon, it tells you who still needs to sign. And then with DocuSign, you can always void out the signature if you need to. All right, how does the borrower get notified that they need to sign? So once you put an e-signature doc together and send it out to the borrower, how do they get notified? So they're going to get an email. Whenever you add an e-signature doc, an email is going to go out to the borrower. It's called the Add New Doc Notice, and it's going to let them know that there's new activity on your loan. So it's going to let them know, hi, Pete and Petunia, this is an automated message, and we have the following new request for you. And it is going to show that borrower's authorization there. Now, the email is the same whether you use the Floify eSign or DocuSign. They're going to receive the same email here. Now, what happens if you add a third party as a signer? Well, they're going to get an email too. So whoever the loan officer is or the loan owner will say that, in this case, Eric asks you to e-sign. Now, I used borrower gift giver. So Eric asked you to e-sign a document for Peter purchaser and Petunia purchaser. So to e-sign, click this link. Now, when the third party clicks the link, it'll take them either to the Floify eSign or to DocuSign to go ahead and sign their portion of it. So let's take a look at the third party signer UI, which is the user interface for Floify eSign. So if they click the link, it's going to show them the document here. So in this example, I'm using the gift letter. Let's just pretend it's a gift letter anyway. And now they can see where they need to sign. So they can sign just like a borrower or a co-borrower. They can either type or draw their name. They have to consent, and then they can save signature. and then they can click the date as well. Once they're done signing, they can confirm, and then it shows them that the signing has been confirmed. Now with DocuSign, the third-party signer user interface for DocuSign, very similar. It's going to pull up their DocuSign user interface here instead. So they're going to first agree to the electronic records and signatures and continue. And then DocuSign is going to pull up the document for them to sign. So much like the Floify eSign, they can go ahead and sign. They can either select or draw, and then they can adopt and sign. All right, and it already plugs in the date there. They can put an initial if they needed to. And then when they're done, they can go ahead and click finish, and that's all there is to it. All right, now how do the borrowers sign? All right, now once you add the e-sign request to the borrowers, they're now ready to sign. I'm actually going to run us through from the very beginning of what the borrower sees. Note that if the borrower does go through the 1003 first, they're already going to have all of these checked off. That's the terms, the e-consent, and the credit authorization. But if you start it as if you were starting on a brand new loan flow, this is what the borrower would see. So the first screen is going to be the terms updated. So they can go ahead and agree to the Floify terms and privacy policy and agree. And now it's going to ask them for the e-consent, and it asks them who is currently here. So here's Pete, Petunia, or both. You can see if I click one name or the other, it just asks for e-consent and credit authorization, or I can say both of us are here. And if so, we can go ahead and check those off together and submit. All right, so who would you like to sign in first? So I'm going to start with Pete here. So let me go ahead and log in. And as usual, we're going to walk the borrower through the little tutorial. So this is just showing the borrower how they can do certain things like upload their documents, decline docs, and I'm ready. So now when the borrower logs in, they're going to see their screen here, just like you do. Okay, now they can see docs owed, docs pending, and docs accepted. Now in the docs owed here, there's two categories that they see. There's assets and there's miscellaneous. Now the e-sign docs are always going to go into miscellaneous. Now the borrower can see here's the DocuSign. So there's the borrower authorization, and here's the Floify e-sign. So you can see the two different icons here, whichever one you want to choose. Over to the right, there's the icon to sign the document for the e-sign. So when the borrower clicks that, they can now see the document. They can click to sign. Again, they can type or they can draw their signature if they choose. I'm just going to go ahead and type it in. I like the easy route. And consent. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and save signature, and then I'll just click to date, and now I'm ready to go. So confirm and sign. All right, e-signature completed. Okay, now your co-borrower Petunia is also required to sign this document. Is she available to sign? I can say no, go back, or I can say yes. Now, if you are using the same emails for both borrower and co-borrower, this is the best option. It's the easiest. So they can click yes, and now it automatically takes Petunia to the area that she needs to sign. All right, so here's click to sign again for Petunia. Again, type or draw. Purchaser. Go to consent and save signature. All right, and then we're going to click to date and confirm and sign. Perfect, signing confirmed. Okay, now if there's another document, Petunia can go ahead and sign the next document, or we can just go back to dashboard if we're done with this one. So let's go ahead and go back. All right, so you can see I'm logged in as Petunia still. If I go to the miscellaneous tab, I can see that the borrower's authorization is now processing. It does take just a few seconds to go ahead and process. And once it does finish, it'll then move into the docs pending review. All right, so you can see the document is now fully signed, and if you ever need to view it, you can click the eyeball here. Now I'm viewing it from the borrower's side because they can view it as well. But there's Peter's signature and there's Petunia's signature as well as the date. And then Floify also has a certificate of completion. So anytime somebody signs a document through eSign, you're going to be able to see when they viewed it and when they actually signed it, the IP address that they logged into, who the signee was, and then of course the signatures that they've used. All right, so you get a copy of one of those with every document. Now going back into DocSode, I am going to show you the DocuSign option as well. So if the borrower wants to go ahead and, if you're using DocuSign, this is what you're going to see instead. So again, very similar, but now they can go ahead and e-sign document. And again, the DocuSign user interface is going to open up. So they can go ahead and agree to use electronic records and signatures and continue to the document. All right, and then just like you saw earlier with the third party, they can go ahead and click start, and then they can sign. The date is automatically plugged in. Let me put my signature here. I'm going to adopt and sign, and then the date is already plugged in with DocuSign, and then I can finish. All right, so your co-borrower Pete is also required to sign this document. Is Pete available to log in and sign now? I can say no, go to the loan flow, or I can say, yeah, Pete's here. And then Pete can go ahead and sign this document now. Again, this is using the same email address. I'm going to agree to the electronic records and continue. And again, Pete can go through the same process. So click to sign. We're going to go ahead and put Pete's signature. Date is already in there, and finish. All right, so the e-signature is completed. Now that's going to take us back to Floify, and you'll notice that the DocuSign document has now moved over as well. The DocuSign doesn't have the DocuSign icon once it's signed, but it does show there. So there's the borrower authorization. Let's see, is this right? Let me scroll down. There's the signatures again, and this is, oh, I'm sorry, this is the Floify e-sign. Let me go back. Here's the DocuSign. Okay, borrower's authorization. Okay, so there's the signatures. Here's the DocuSign certificate of completion as well. So you see the same type of things that you see with the Floify e-sign. You have all of those same, um, timestamp, signature, all of the signer events. You have all of that stuff right here on the certificate of completion. Right, and then you have a few extra pages with DocuSign as well. All right, now let's go ahead and bring it home with the template documents or the e-sign. So with a template document, you can set up a template one time. So any document you have, whether it be a PDF or a Word doc, tip for all you Mac users out there, I recently found out that Pages is not accepted, so you will have to convert it to a Word doc first. But once you upload that document, you can then go ahead and plug your name, your date, those couple of things will auto-fill for you. But then you can put your signatures, any text fields that you might need, you can put everything into place, radio buttons, checkboxes, etc. Now you can add your template docs to quick packs or auto doc requests. That way, when you're initially asking for the documents, perhaps when the borrower finishes the application, how you have documents that are automatically showing in the docs ode. By creating templates, you can add those e-sign documents right up front as well. And then you can add either 3 signers with Floify eSign to any template, or you can add a maximum of 2 signers with DocuSign, a borrower and a co-borrower. However, you can add carbon copies to any users you would like. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about Floify eSign first. So let's go up to settings, and we're going to go down to eSign again. And this time we're going to go to Floify eSign dashboard. Now from here, you can see I don't have any templates created. I can see my templates, no results. All right, over to the left, I can see any drafts or anything I've deleted. But I'm going to go ahead and create new template. All right, now here I can go ahead and name my template. So again, I'm going to use borrower's authorization. And I can browse and attach my document. All right, once I have that set up, I can now go ahead and put my recipients. So I have 3 roles that I can select: borrower, co-borrower, and loan officer. So I'll select borrower here. I'm going to go ahead and put co-borrower. And if I needed to, I can always put a loan officer. All right, so I can add 3 signers. I can delete since I don't need a loan officer here. All right, once that looks good, I can go ahead and click Next. And again, just takes a couple of seconds here. But once that document loads, it's going to be very similar to what we did for the one-off docs. So I have all my signatures and tags over to the left. I can go ahead and find where I need to place those. In this case, it's pretty simple. Borrower's auth is a good example since the signature and date are pretty much the only two fields that I need. There's not a whole lot of changes going on this form. So let me go ahead and do co-borrower. Again, I'll just put my signature and my date. And once I like how that looks, I can go ahead and save and close. All right, once it's created, I can see it now in my template. So I have my borrower's auth, I can have gift letters, all kinds of different docs and forms that I need. Now, if I go back into settings, I'm skipping a little bit ahead, but this is what it's going to look like once you ultimately put it on your template docs. You're going to have borrower authorization showing here. All right, the description, and then they can see it's a, or you can see rather, it's a Floify eSign. All right, so there's my borrower authorization. Now let's go ahead and talk about the DocuSign option here. So for DocuSign, we're going to go ahead and pop into integrations. And in this case, we're going to go ahead and scroll down and view DocuSign console. All right, now again, the DocuSign console is going to open up here. And I have a few different options. I can manage or I can view templates. I can also view any reports. So let's go ahead and click templates here. And I'm going to go ahead and create a new template. So let's click new over to the left here. And any templates I have, you can view those here. All right, so same type of thing. We're going to go ahead and upload our document here. So let me go ahead and find my borrower auth. Maybe switch it up with the gift letter. See if I can drag it in instead. Nope, that's okay. Must not like the document type. Like I said, it doesn't like pages, so let me just go ahead and grab my borrower's authorization. I think that'll be fine here. Okay, borrower auth. Whoops, wrong document. Sorry, folks, bear with me here. Just giving examples of how you can fix things when you make mistakes. All right, borrower auth here. There we go. That one looks good. Go ahead and click next. And now we're going to see the placeholders. So instead of having the placeholders to select, I'm going to type borrower here for placeholder 1 and co-borrower. Capital C hyphen borrower. Now you can have a maximum of 2 signers, like I said, borrower, co-borrower. Now, if you wanted, you can add somebody to receive a carbon copy. So if you had a loan officer, you can put receives a copy. But keep in mind, if you put needs to sign, the template is not going to work right, and you're going to run into some problems there. So maximum of 2 signers on DocuSign. Go ahead and click next once you have those signers there. And don't mind that it says borrower and co-borrower. That's just what Floify is looking for. So I'll put these fields into place here. All right, those look good. Once I'm happy with that, I mean, you can always put your name if you want, just as an example. So if you wanted the name to be plugged in, you can always drag a name into place as well and put those on there, and the name would automatically be filled in. Whenever the document opens for the borrower, it would just have their name printed there, and then they would still have to click to sign. And then you can click next. You can always review the template here at the end. Now the name I will update. I'm going to change that. I can see my recipients. If I ever wanted to change the message, I can, but keep in mind it's just an email coming from Floify, so that won't actually show anywhere. And then I can choose an expiration if I want to. 100 a day, 20 days is fine with me. I can always set passwords and then save template. All right, now here I'm going to go ahead and change the name since it prompts me to do that. So for this template, I'm going to call it borrower's authorization 2. All right, and now my template shows right here in DocuSign. Now if I go back to settings, go to template docs. Now how you add the document, once you create your template in Floify eSign, you're going to click add new eSign doc right here to put it into your template docs and Floify eSign doc for DocuSign. So once I'm ready, this is for the Floify eSign. I can go ahead and put my document name that I want to be added to the templates. I can pick a category if I have one. Now, if I wanted to include a sample or a copy of that PDF, I can, just so the borrower can view it before they actually sign it. And then after that, I'm going to go ahead and select the template that I want to connect to. So here's borrower authorization and then submit. And that's all there is to it. Now I'm getting an error because I've already done this. I've already created one. But what would happen, let me just go back a page, is that document would now show right here, borrower authorization, just like I showed you earlier. There's the Floify eSign. Now for any DocuSign docs, you're going to want to click Add New eSignature doc. All right, again, I can go ahead and put my name, optional description if I wanted to. Again, I can choose a file, and then now I'm going to select for my DocuSign templates. So I have a lot more here. So let me go ahead and find my borrower authorization. There it is, and submit. All right. Now, once I do add a DocuSign doc, this is what it's going to look like. Now, here's an example of a gift letter. There's the DocuSign icon over to the right. So I only have the gift letter in here right now. I was thinking I had another example, but that's what it'll look like once you add it to your template docs. All right, now you can add it to any quick packs that you want to. So if you already have some, you can either go ahead and edit them, and now you can find your borrower authorization here. So whenever you add a quick pack, those documents there can be added. Or the other option is if I go to apply now, I have apply now automatic doc request. So these are the triggers that request documents right up front when a borrower finishes their app. So if I want to add these to, let's say, a purchase, there's my purchase and my refinance. So let's say I want to add it to both of those, because normally I'll add it to both if I want this to be covered across the board, because those two pretty much, will show pretty much any loan that comes through, a purchase and a refi. So what I do is I can go ahead and add another action to this business rule. So here I'm going to go ahead and select my borrower authorization. Now, whenever somebody goes through my app and they say that it's a purchase, I'm now going to ask for a borrower authorization as well. Now, same thing with the refi. I'm going to add it there as well. All right, so whenever it's a refi, I'm going to add another action, and I'm going to say borrower authorization. And again, I'm just going to save. So now whenever a purchase or a refinance come in, I'm going to ask for that borrower authorization. Or if I ever wanted to, I can always add my own new business rule. I can put a name in here. Let's say it was a gift. Now I can come into my assets and I can go ahead and select gift. So now whenever somebody lists that they have a gift, I can trigger that gift letter here. All right, and then save. And that's going to be one of my business rules too. So that will automatically get asked for. All right, well, that wraps it up for today's Floify eSign and DocuSign webinar. Just know we are continuing to work on it as well. So if there's any features out there that you think Floify eSign could benefit from, chances are we are working on building that out. But feel free to send any feedback to us at support@floify.com. I know I went a little over time today, so bear with me and thank you for staying with me. But thank you all for attending. And if you have any further questions, feel free to direct those to support@floify.com. Have a great day.